I think, Gloria, particularly the very first one, whatever it might be, after the death of a loved one, whatever that occasion is, the first one is the hardest,
first one is agonising. When we lost Caren, and her anniversary was just last week, I was determined in my own head that her children, Charlie and Gabriel, would mark occasions, you know, like Mother's Day, like Christmas, like her birthday. But somehow or other, on the date of her passing, I tried to keep it quite light. And normally we are in France artists, we raise a glass or two of the old vino. But this year, I tell you what we did in the garden, because you very kindly gave me that great 80th birthday party in the garden. And I hadn't had one last year, and but for you, I wouldn't have had one this year. And if the pandemic goes on, I'll be 80 forever. But the 80 was really big. And so I thought, I'm going to let them up for Caren. So when the boys were there, I said, right, let's send these to Mum. So we cut them loose, and they went so high because they were full of helium. Yeah. So I kind of like them to... We have fun times, and we've been known to tie balloons to the gravestone. We've been known to let rockets off, and we all send little messages.
I'm just being told, so I'm so sorry to interrupt you, I'm just being told we've got a little problem with your mic. It might be your blouse.
Really?
So
OK.
Is that better?
Am I scraping and whatever?
No, it's not. I'm going to talk to Coleen, and we're going to try and sort out your microphone. How many years since Bernie passed now?
Well, 2013 she passed. So it's very strange for me, because my family and lots of friends, you know, and people online, they all not celebrate, but they all remember Bernie's passing and Bernie's birthday, and I tend to not. I go, oh, it's July 4th today, that's when Bernie died, or it's October 17th, that's her birthday. But I find it hard.
But you don't do anything to mark it particularly?
I find it hard to do anything.
The charity Cruise Bereavement Care says it's fine if you want to ignore the day as well, Janet, because I think maybe sometimes people feel a pressure, like, we must do something,
I always feel a pressure.
and then it might upset you. So
well, I can't remember the day my mother died or my sister died. I remember the time of year, I remember the circumstances around it. Like, I was abroad when I heard my mother was... you know, nearing the end. And with my sister, obviously, I was really involved with her because she was writing a diary, and I wanted it to be published. So I do remember all the circumstances, but I like to remember the places we went to together. And sometimes, you know, during the year, I might go to the seaside, or I might remember something I did with my mum and my sister, and that suits me better than focusing on the actual day.
Now that I've got an old-fashioned microphone.
There's no stopping her now. She's thinking
but you see, I think that there's no simple way to cope with grief. It's absolutely fine that that's what you do. From my point of view, I think it's because I always think of that little phrase that people never die if they live on the lips of the living. Yeah. And that's why I like to talk about Caren, to keep her alive in spirit for her two boys. And it's really important to me that they learn, in a way, because they're now in their 20s. And I think that parents, or grandparents in my case, you have to sort of remind them, really, that these days should at least be thought of. That's my opinion, but...
Or remind them that it's OK to talk about her.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
True. Oh, yes,
because I think within families, I know with my mum and I'm always worried about upsetting her, and I think she probably feels the same about me. So I think sometimes we both hold back from discussing my sister, because I think, and especially during the pandemic, when I haven't been able to be with her, I didn't want to talk about my sister on the phone, because then I had, you know, visions of my mum being on her own afterwards in tears. So I think it's allowing people to talk, isn't it, and saying, actually, it's good to talk. But, you know, I think actually what Cruise Bereavement Care say is that you've just got to do what suits you, and if you want to ignore the day, that's fine too.
It's not even that I ignore it, it's just that I think of Bernie at some points every day.
Yeah.
So I don't want to ignore her, certainly the day she died, because that just makes me sad.
Yeah.
And every other day, people celebrating her birthdays and things makes me realise she's not here. Yeah. I still always try and imagine that she is.
But you know, a little thing on Mother's Day this year, Charlie and Gabriel wrote Mother's Day cards, care of the church, care of the graveside, and they were delivered. And I loved that. It was such a simple thing, you know. You didn't even have to go to the graveside to do it. But she was in their thoughts, and I loved that.
Yeah. And Gloria, you mentioned there your 80th birthday, and obviously you couldn't have a party, you were in lockdown. Yeah, we sent you all the balloons and things, and it was a milestone. How